Are you currently experiencing this kind of thing going on with your rose bush? And these with your climbing roses? All of these? First of all, I need you to take a deep breath because there is nothing wrong with this, okay? What I'm talking about are these very strong, vigorous looking canes just shot up, almost seem like, overnight, out of nowhere, out of your rose bushes or your climbing roses. And this is actually a good, healthy sign that your rose is very, very happy. Now, I know aesthetically, I do personally care a lot about form and symmetry with the shape of my roses. And this almost seems like an eyesore to a lot of people. But I'm telling you, if you were to ask me, and I know this is a personal choice, if you were to ask me if you should cut it off to the same height as the rest of the bush, I said, why do that? Just keep it, let it be, because I want to explain to you why I choose to not cut it off myself. This rose bush right here is currently blooming and it's about to finish. And right now it's sending all the energy to push out new blooms and new buds. By you cutting it all the way to the base of that one single cane, or to about here to match the rest of the height, what that's going to do is going to send all its energy, directing it back to healing the wounds that you just made, and not be able to solely fully focus on producing blooms. So you might even sometimes, in severe cases, if you trim off a lot really aggressively at this stage with your rose, you might not be able to see much blooms for the rest of the season. Now, I know you might be asking, Yuli, are you just going to leave it looking like this, all lopsided? That's really, aesthetically not pleasing to the eye. And my answer is, I like to let it be for now, but I only do major cuts, major pruning twice a year. And as I mentioned before, here in Texas, in zone AB where I am at, I like to trim it, to do a moderate trim before my roses go into dormancy, and that's around November. And that's when I make a decent amount of trim, just to deadhead and clean off the diseased spotted leaves. And that's in November. Now, coming out of dormancy, I prune my roses really, really heavily, and that's in the middle of February, around Valentine's Day for me. I like to keep my shrubs, especially at a manageable height, because a lot of rose shrubs can get really, really big, as you may or may not know. And that's when you can make drastic cuts to wake it up from dormancy. And that can sometimes be, cutting off 2/3 or half of your rose shrub. I don't like to disturb it while it's, focusing on blooming and push out leaves to photosynthesize. And I think it's really important for you to know the reason why I don't do these trims during times like this. Okay, so we're gonna move on to climbing roses. Climbing roses, the reason why I have to talk about it separately, because climbing roses do need to be trained, and they behave a little bit differently than shrub roses. As you can see, I'm using this one as an example. I have it on a arbor that's probably about 8 feet tall. She has a lot of vigorous growth, as you can see, and they're currently all seeking for proper support. And the reason why I don't prune it all the way to the base right now for these canes, I like to keep them, is because roses can bloom on both old and new canes. So towards February, like I mentioned, when I do my major pruning, I like to take a look at all of the canes that I have at that time and choose about 6 to 8 very strong, vital canes to keep, and prune off all of the scrawny, very weak looking canes, and have those canes to be the main source for the next round of blooms. How to train them, especially for climbing roses, is so important. You will want to wrap these around the pole instead of like taking it straight up. And I'm going to show you the reason why I'm asking you to wrap it around your trellis, wrap the canes around your trellis, or train it horizontally instead of vertically, is because roses have these nodes that you can see that are a little bit swelled up, kind of like a small nipple on these canes. These especially need even distribution of, they need to get even sunlight. So by you training it horizontally and wrapping it around a trellis or an arbor, that's going to expose them to more even sunlight. That way it can push out new growth and possibly giving you the next round of bloom. So please don't be alarmed when you're seeing crazy new growth, especially during seasons that rains a ton. Rainwater is one of the most nutritiously packed, nitrogen-filled fertilizer, natural fertilizer that you can use for, that you're just given for all of your roses and your plants. So if it does rain a lot, you're seeing a lot of these new vigorous growth, let it be. Enjoy the flowers for now, because when it comes time to prune, I'm gonna show you. Do not worry. I hope you're relieved after seeing this video, and like always, happy planting. I will see you in the next one. Bye, Rose Besties.